So recently, this channel Boxado, he uploaded this short clip. It's a good channel, by the way. You should go subscribe, especially because I'm kind of ripping their content here. But um, anyways, it illustrates a concept that I was going to do a long form video on, so I thought I'd do a short form analysis on Andy Ruiz, because obviously you can see he's throwing some pretty devastating hooks, and he's doing something that is very important to note. And just to explain it while you guys are watching it, the concepts I'm talking about are twofold. One is maximizing defensive real estate, and um, avoiding redundant defenses. What I mean by these things is maximizing defensive real estate would be like if I have both my hands here, one hand is blocking all of this area, right? It has as much coverage as possible with its job, right? It can block here, here, my body, all of that, and the other hand obviously is the same thing. A redundant defense would be in an extreme example, if I had both hands over here, right? They're both protecting the same side, but I'm obviously exposed over here. And the one exception where you might do something like this would be if, say, you were protecting against like a strong high kick at a range where you weren't exposed over here, so you weren't losing anything by doubling up, but you needed the dual reinforcement for such a powerful shot, right? But again, I'll go into this in the long form video more. But what we see from Andy Ruiz is he's really utilizing this concept by the fact that this is his starting point, for example, right? You see that the hand that he ends up blocking with is covering his center line. The elbow is protecting the body, right? His shoulder is protecting the right side of his body. And of course, this angle is essentially blocked off. He's got this kind of exposed area, but because he's going to be throwing a shot, it's very minimal, and it's a very short window of opportunity, right? As he throws, right, he's very quickly turning over. This is where he's maximally exposed, but he's only got a fraction of a second for his opponent to land. However, because his hook is coming, the threat is something that his opponent is going to have to deal with, so it'd be very hard for them to counter in this window of opportunity. But however, as soon as he turns it over, which is very quick, right, you see again that his shoulder is covering all this area, right? The back of his scapula is also protecting for hooks that would come in kind of this way, right? His arm is protecting the center line, right? He's got some body coverage, and of course, his right arm has come to protect the other side of his face. The other aspect that this really provides even more advantage is because he's turning his right hand over rapidly and violently, he's getting more power transfer in his hooks, right? So he's maximizing defensive real estate, but not in a static environment where like his hands are placed in a single position. He's doing it dynamically within the context of a movement, right? So he's adjusting as he moves in sequence to always have always have his hands and his shoulders and his elbows and all the parts of his body that would act as protection in the most advantageous position to maximize defensive real estate, right? And of course, he has no redundant defenses. So he is accomplishing like three things at once just by utilizing this concept of turning over. And of course, you also see, just because we're at this video, why not, that he is transferring a lot of power with the hips, right? Unlike some people, his feet are not moving, they're not twisting over, but he's still able to torque so much power with just his torso and his hips. He's also got good mobilities in his knees to be able to turn over that much without turning over his feet, right? Because he's not turning over his feet. But one of the things that helps that is this right hand that he's flinging up to the side of his head, right? That is giving him that extra power that he might be lacking from the lack of turning over of the feet, right? So, really interesting concept to note, and Andy Ruiz obviously showcasing this with some really effective and powerful hooks. We'll see how that plays into his next match with Ortiz, and best of luck to both of them, right?